Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great wherever you're watching from today. We have a fascinating topic to talk about, and that is a mission, the United States government, a Delta Force kill mission. The United States government did its best to keep secret, and a lot of information's come out about it. A lot of things are known about it. And I'm going to explain to you the one of the most impressive Delta Force missions that you have probably never, ever heard of. That was an incredible accomplishment, took out an absolute piece of garbage, scumbag. A lot of it is still shrouded in secrecy, but there is some information out there. And we're going to get into kind of how this all worked, what happened, why they took this guy out, and the fact that nobody really knew about it for a long, long, long time. Certainly didn't know about details. At the time of the operation, it was known that an operation had occurred, but who exactly they were going after was not known. So we're going to get into all of that and much more. I'm very excited to talk about this. As you guys know, I love Tier 1 operations, love Delta Force, love SEAL Team 6, have a lot of buddies in both of them who did a lot of incredible things over the years, and I'm proud of what they've done. So we're going to get into it. This is going to be an opportunity to really peel back the onion, if you will, on a mission most people don't even know happened. But before we get into it, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe. Cost you guys absolutely nothing. Totally free. Huge boost to the channel. Comment with your thoughts below, whether it's Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, your thoughts on the operation, whatever you guys want to say. Love seeing your comments. Go ahead and hit that bell. All notifications turned on so you won't miss a thing. And then right here at the bottom of the screen, Instagram, David_Hookstead, X D Hookstead. That's where you can find me on social media. Give me a follow. At both of them, I share a lot of fun stuff I think you guys will enjoy. Now, let's get into it. As we know, Delta Force and SEAL Team 6 are America's premier Tier 1 direct action, counterterrorism, and hostage rescue units. Now, I will admit, I'm going to chuckle here a little bit. I know some people think that I dislike SEAL Team 6 and I'm all in on Delta Force. That could not be further from the truth. I have immense respect for both units. Like I said, I have friends in both units. I do find the history of them both absolutely fascinating. And yes, I do enjoy the rivalry. It's a playful rivalry. It's a good thing to stir the competitive juices. But whether it's Delta Force or SEAL Team 6, you are in good hands if either unit shows up to save you if you're a hostage. And you're going to have a really, really bad time if either unit shows up and they are looking for you because you're a bad guy. That's not going to end well for you. It doesn't matter whether it's CAG or DevGru. They are going to kick your ass. It's just that simple, which leads me to the famed 2008 Abu Kamal raid. Most of you watching this have probably never heard of the 2008 Abu Kamal raid. I'm not surprised. Most people have no idea it exists, yet it was one of the most important missions Delta Force has ever pulled off, and it has remained in the shadows for nearly 20 years. Today, we are going to dive in, and I've talked about this before, but never at this level, never in the level of detail we're going to get in today. So what was the 2008 Abu Kamal raid? I'm going to go ahead and put this on the screen for y'all. So let me get this up here. So this is the wiki page. It actually has a wiki page. It says the 2008 Abu Kamal raid was an attack carried out by helicopter-borne CIA paramilitary officers from Special Activities Division and the United States Special Operations Command, Joint Special Operations Command inside Syrian territory on October 26, 2008. The Syrian government called the event a criminal and terrorist attack on its sovereignty, alleging all of the reported 8 fatalities were civilians. That's not true. And as we'll get into, the Syrian government was actually involved in this. They knew it was coming. They were happy it was happening. An unnamed U.S. military source, however, alleges the target was a network of foreign fighters who planned to travel through Syria to join the Iraqi insurgency against the U.S.-led coalition in Iraq and the Iraqi government. Now, what I can tell you is the wiki page already is wrong. The wiki page claims that members of Special Activities Division were part of the assault team. That is not true. I can tell you for a fact that is not true. There was CIA involvement. There was Task Force Orange involvement. Task Force Orange, also known as the Activity or Intelligence Support Agency or Activity, is a Tier 1 Army unit that is a highly competitive, selective process to get into, and it is an intelligence organization. So you have Delta Force and you have SEAL Team 6. They're shooters. They are the best shooters on the planet when it comes to combat. ISA, they're an intelligence organization at a tier 1 level. The other tier 1 organizations, of course, being the Air Force's 24th STS, and then the Ranger Reconnaissance Company, which is the RRC. And so let's get into it. Who was the target? The target, here it says, the target, I'll highlight this for you so you can see it. The target of the raid was said to be a foreign fighter logistics network. A U.S. source told CBS News that the leader of the foreign fighters, an al-Qaeda officer, was the target of Sunday's cross-border raid. He said the attack was successful, but did not say whether or not the al-Qaeda officer was killed. Fox News later reported that Abu Ghadiya, that's important, he's the target. This is the ghost. Abu Ghadiya, there are no photographs of him. Nobody has ever seen his body. They never released images of his body after he was killed. Was maybe at the time in 2008, the most dangerous man on the planet. Why was he the most dangerous man on the planet? Because Abu Ghadiya was funneling 120 people a month over the border into Iraq, including S-vest carriers. I can't say the full name because YouTube will take the video down. Fox News later reported that Abu Ghadiya, al-Qaeda's senior coordinator operating in Syria, was killed in the attack. And the New York Times reported that during the raid, the U.S. troops involved killed several armed males who posed a threat. So we go here. It says very little is known about Abu Ghadiya. The U.S. Department of Treasury claimed he was a Sunni Iraq-born between 1977 and 1979 in Mosul, whose actual name was Badra Tukri Hishan al-Mazida. However, other reports claim that Abu Ghadiya was born in Damascus in 1976 and his real name was Solomon Khalid Darwish. He graduated from the Damascus University Dentistry School sometime during the 1990s until he later went to Afghanistan and joined AQ. Both reports accuse him of working for al-Qaeda, an Iraq leader, Abu Mazab al-Zakari. Of course, we just did a video on how Zarqawi was killed. And the U.S. claimed he later started working for Abu Ayyub al-Mazri after Zarqawi's death. The U.S. had reportedly known about Abu Ghadiya for months or years and had been pressing the Syrian government to hand over, capture, or kill him. According to the New York Times, Abu Ghadiya was either killed near his tent or died after being taken by American troops, his body flown out of Syria. American officials have stated that Ghadiya was killed in the raid along with several other members of his cells. So here it talks about the United States government, the Syrian government disputed the American claims. These were lies from the United States. They weren't lies. What you guys have to understand is the Syrian government and the United States government had a very interesting relationship during the early days of the GWAT, essentially the first 8 years or so. In fact, the United States actually had prisoners taken to Syria to be interrogated. This is a fact. You can look it up. It's not secret. When this raid happened, Syrian dictator Bashar Al-Assad, who has since fled, wanted this guy gone. He did not want this piece of trash in his country because he didn't want terrorists in his own country, right? Bashar al-Assad was an Alawite. He wanted stability. He didn't want threats to the regime. A guy funneling foreign fighters across the border. They don't just want to fight in Iraq. Assad is worried they might turn their guns on his regime soon, and thus he must be dealt with. So essentially what happens is the Syrian government, with coordination with the U.S. government, is aware the strike is going to happen. They stand down. They don't do anything. And the U.S. troops come in. So let's get to this. I got to find where it is. This is from Sean Naylor. Now, Sean Naylor, I understand, is not overly popular with some people in the special operations community. I've been told by many people some of his stories, they struggle to believe as having been guys who were there. But in this, I do believe he is fairly accurate, judging from everything I've been told. But give me one sec. I'm filming this on the morning of August 3rd. Got to get a little coffee in my system. So, got to get the energy up. I'm very excited about this topic. The killing of Abu Ghadiya is one of the craziest things ever. So let's read right here. In planning a strike into Syria, albeit just a few miles over the border, the task force intelligence analysts had to determine the likely reaction times of the Syrian Air Force, border guards, and air defense networks. While the United States had given senior Syrian officials in Damascus a heads up that a raid might be won in the offing. See, we told the Syrians this was going to happen. The Syrians were more than happy about it. The Syrian troops along the border were none the wiser. But Syrian air defenses were oriented on Israel and Turkey, not longtime ally Iraq. This raid happened about a year or so after Israel bombed Syria's nuclear reactor in 2007. So Syria was highly focused on making sure that didn't happen. They were worried about Israel coming back in. So they weren't focused on the border with Iraq, which gave the U.S. Delta Force team a window to operate and catch them off their guard, even though Assad knew it was coming. While U.S. intelligence reported that Syrian Air Force pilots were flying no more than a handful of times a month, task force planners estimated that the operators could spend at least 90 minutes on the objective before trouble arrived. But for JSOC to launch, the spy in Abu Ghadiya's camp, who I believe was an ISA member or an ISA aligned, had to report that the wanted man was at the safe house. Abu Ghadiya's cell phone also had to be on and emitting from that location. There were several false starts. It finally all came together on October 26, 2008. So these are the details of the Delta Force strike team. Now, I can tell you with complete certainty, A Squadron conducted this assault. A Squadron in broad daylight crossed the border into Syria to kill this target. At the time, other than maybe Osama bin Laden, the most wanted man in the world, and the public never even knew he existed. The Night Stalker crews had about 36 hours to prepare for the mission. After crossing the border, the flight to the objective lasted no longer than 15 minutes. Located in a tiny hamlet, the target building was a single-story flat roof structure. The helicopters took no fire as they approached. The Blackhawks landed, disgorging operators who sprinted to the building, where they suppressed resistance from Abu Ghadiya and a handful of his fighters within 90 seconds. So the whole gunfight is over in 90 seconds. They are hitting a compound that has at least a dozen militants in it, and the A Squadron operators are so fast, so proficient, so good, the entire gunfight is over in 90 seconds, killing between 6 and 12 militants without suffering any wounded or killed themselves. The operators spent about an hour doing sensitive site exploitation, which amounts to collecting as much material of intelligence value as possible before calling for the Blackhawks to return, loading Abu Ghadiya's body on a helicopter and flying back to El-Assad Air Base in Iraq. As the intelligence analysts had predicted, no security forces showed up while the operators were on the ground. There's also something at the top that, so here it says, 4 helicopters skid through the air, 2 Blackhawks full of Delta Force operators covered by a pair of AH-6 Little Birds, all headed for the Syrian border near Al-Qaim, I think is how it's pronounced. The aircraft were flown by some of the Army's most skilled pilots, the Night Stalkers, but it was broad daylight, 4:45 p.m. on October 26, 2008. They were on the way to kill a man. That man was Abu Ghadiya, the Namdigar Bandri Turki Hishan al-Mazidi. This says an Iraqi of 30 years of age who ran the largest foreign fighters network in Syria. During the peak of the Iraq War in 06 and 07, JSOC, which oversees Army Delta Force and Navy SEAL Team 6 and other secretive and elite units, estimated Abu Ghadiya was running 120 to 150 foreign fighters, including 20 to 30 SVEST guys a month into Iraq. So we actually have footage of this raid. I'm going to put that on the screen. Now, I can only show you the beginning of this. Again, otherwise, YouTube is going to have a huge problem. But you will be able to see the helicopters that were actually caught on camera carrying the A Squadron guys in. Let's watch. You see
These pictures taken by an amateur cameraman are believed to show United
There's a
States
second
military
helicopter coming in with the Delta Force team
inside Syria. 8 people were killed in the.
So now I'll take this off the screen and I'll get a little bit more into the details. For those of you who don't know, when you're at a tier 1 level, and this is no different than the Osama bin Laden raid, orders often come down, and on the sheet of paper, there's 2 words. It says capture/kill, kill/capture. One of those 2 is circled. The one that is circled is the priority. That means if you find the guy and kill is circled, it is a kill mission. You are to eliminate that threat on site. If it's a capture mission, the goal is to capture that individual. You can obviously still eliminate the threat if you have to. If he's armed, if he's posing an immediate threat, you can take that threat out. You don't have to capture him. You don't have to put yourself at risk just because capture is the priority. It is my understanding that this was a kill mission. That is the same reporting that Sean Naylor did. Sean Naylor, as he reported, said they are coming in to kill him. This guy, Abu Ghadiya, I really don't know how to pronounce his last name. Abu Ghadiya, this was a kill mission. The objective was to take him out. And anyone who was there, who was a military-age man and wanted to fight, was also going to get the same treatment Abu Ghadiya got, which at least 6 to 12 of them did. What fascinates me about this raid is we literally don't even, this guy was a ghost. Nobody outside of the highest levels of the U.S. government even knew Abu Ghadiya existed. And yet he was funneling terrorists into the point, to the level that it reached where Bush eventually said, we've got to take this guy out. I know for a fact that George Bush personally is the one who authorized this raid. I can also tell you for a fact that initially they wanted to do this raid in a clandestine style where the U.S. could deny all knowledge and essentially say they had nothing to do with it. This included multiple different options. There was a bike option. They considered biking into Syria under disguise. There was a swimming option where they considered swimming up a river and then essentially rucking it to the site, killing him, where they would then be met by helicopters to extract. All this would have happened at night. Eventually, it got to the point they couldn't wait. Abu Ghadiya had to die, and they went in broad daylight in October of 2008. And that was right before the election. So if this had gone wrong and a crisis had happened, it would have been really bad. But we're talking about tier 1 operators. We're talking about guys who train for this. We're talking about guys who do this for a living. And they showed up and they unleashed justice and I'm sure a little bit of vengeance on the target. They're professionals. And the most fascinating part about this is the Bashar al-Assad regime, again, Assad has since fled, was 100% aware this raid was going to happen and allowed it because they wanted this scumbag gone too, because he didn't just represent a threat to the U.S. forces in Iraq. If he eventually decided he was going to unleash his S-Vest bombers on Damascus, who now faces that threat? The Assad regime does. So they didn't want anything to do with him either. There have been some reports that Syrian security officials went to the village and threatened the people to stay silent. I don't know if that's true or not. I know that's what the reports say. But this mission is one most people, even people who love researching special operations, have never heard of. We killed the world's most wanted man, other than maybe Osama bin Laden, and kept it secret for years. And it really speaks to the professionalism of tier 1 operators. And I'm sure SEAL Team 6 has done things similar that we will never know about. I'm sure there are a ton of other Delta Force missions we will never know about. But the raid to kill Abu Ghadiya was nothing short of incredible, spectacular, great professionalism. And the fact that most people didn't even know what happened really goes to show the level of secrecy Delta Force operators can operate with when they need to. So hats off to everyone involved. They took a major chess piece off the chessboard and they did it in 90 seconds, just smacking every bad guy that was there. They grabbed his body and left. And the U.S. government never even released a photo of this guy. To this day, it is now 2025. We still do not know what Abu Ghadiya even looks like. But he was killed on target. His body was then taken back to Iraq. After that, I have no idea what happened to it. I doubt many of the guys there know what happened to it. But that is the story of how Abu Ghadiya was killed. And I hope you guys enjoyed learning about this as much as I did. Comment with your thoughts below what you think about the raid. If there's a mission you want me to look into, if there's a mission you want me to pull some threads on and bring to you guys, let me know that in the comments as well. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you guys absolutely nothing at all. It is a huge, huge, huge boost to the channel. Hit the bell. All notifications turn on. And then right here, Instagram, David_Hookstead, XD Hookstead. And if you really love the channel, I do a live stream every Tuesday night. You can get in there, show your appreciation, send some super chats, ask some questions. I answer every super chat question I get. So if you love the channel, feel free to send a super chat on a Tuesday night live, or just drop one in the comments. I'll see y'all guys next time. I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. I love you guys being here. Have a great rest of your day.